What's up, family? I'm Mikey, and this is Chris. And we're brothers, and we're in the band Islander. And you're watching Good Company with Scott Bowling.
Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling, and you're watching Good Company. Today we have Islander. We have Mikey returning to the show. His brother, Chris, older brother.
Yes.
Dude, guys, thank you for being here, man.
Dude, thanks for having us,
Dude,
brother.
always, man. So you guys have a new record label. Can you talk about that?
Well, we don't have a new record label.
You don't.
We're on a new record
You're on it, yeah. You're not starting a new record label, yeah.
We have partnered with the label.
We signed with Better Noise.
Nice.
And yeah, we're stoked to put a new record out soon. We're still working on it and kind of going back and forth with the label about what each other want from the record. And yeah, we just can't wait to put new music out.
How many songs you guys have written?
We have about 61 unreleased.
61.
So I counted them,
We're not
including
joking,
and we have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, see, in 2018, I believe it was, we recorded a full-length album, but we were independent at the time, and we had just gotten off Victory Records, and we were like, let's go do this independent thing. And we recorded an entire album independently, funded it ourselves, everything. And then right when we were about to release it, this record label called Outer Loop found us, and they said, we'll put it out, and we won't make you sign, a crazy record deal or whatever. And we signed with them. And then while we were prepping for the release of that record, this other record label, they were called 11-7 at the time, but now they're Better Noise. They heard that album, and they said, we're going to buy it off Outer Loop. So then we're just, getting bought left and right. And so, yeah, we're just kind of still sitting over here waiting to put out new music. So that's the reason nobody's got new music from us for
We're
a
stuck
while.
in purgatory.
Yeah.
Can you guys take the songs from 2018 and are you going to add them to your new one?
We don't know
Release
yet.
it?
We don't know. There's been talks about doing that. There's been we've heard so many varieties there's so many options. And so one of them is maybe we'll just add songs to that. We don't know.
Chris, when did you start? When did you join Islander?
What was it? 3?
Can I answer this?
Yeah.
Go
I know
ahead,
that
go ahead.
I know that he's the one that joined, but I want to say something. He didn't officially to the public join until 2017 or something like that. Yeah. But he's been more in the band than other people that have been in the band and left the band since the beginning. He's actually been there since literally the first
From the basement.
Yeah, from the basement.
Really?
From when we first started going to our hometown release of a self-released EP that was only it never came out through a record label or anything. It's called Side Effects of Youth. He was part of that.
Well, the thing is, you have to go back. So that story, it's we were in bands before Islander. So
Huge.
I don't know.
bands.
I've always but we were in bands, local bands, and we were in bands together. We did music. It's just it was morphing, And so it's weird to me. I always feel like it was always Islander, or even if I don't know, in the future, if it's a different name, it's just what we do. It's just a constant project, always figuring out how to be a musician.
Yeah.
And that's we were in a band. I'll just throw the name out there. We had a band. The two of us had a band called Vintage Tiger.
That's
for
a great
while,
name.
and I played bass. We had a drummer, and we had the keyboard. I had the synth, and so Mikey would jump on the synth sometimes. But it was fun. It was really dancey, but there was I don't know, it's a sense of punk and chaos about it too. It was just this 3-piece, and I ran my bass through 2 guitar cabs, 2 guitar rigs. And that was just this. We made a lot of noise.
Yeah, it was
and
rad.
had a lot of
That's
fun.
cool. I didn't know you played bass.
But it was a big. Yeah, I tinker.
Do you
with
tinker?
everything?
Do you write lyrics as well?
I do. Mikey's that's his strong point.
Yeah,
strong
dude.
suit though. I'm not he's really good at that. As far as the band, I try. I mean, I get lucky sometimes. Where and he's like, "That's really good," but I'll show him a piece of music. Right now, I'm working hard at home in my bedroom. I'm just trying to get as many demos and things ready because I'm so ready to put out new music.
Yeah.
And so I'll show him things, and all of a sudden he'll just be like, "Oh, I like that."
Like he's always kind of been my muse, and like I feel like I'm a little bit one for
Like
him.
on the way here,
Like-
we were driving in the car, and I played him something that I literally was working on an hour before he scooped me up by my house to come out here, and he was just like, "That's sick." And like 30 minutes in, like he's just got his phone out, and I'm just playing it in the car, and he's just like throwing something. He's like putting something on it.
That's cool.
And it's literally just
pretty good.
It's literally just a loop, you know. But the thing is like that's how it works. Like we get excited, and it's like this little loop that I made, and he's like, "Oh," and then that right there, that's just gonna keep running, and then the chorus is gonna drop, and I don't know, that's just how we've always made music.
So you're the older brother. Growing up, I mean, did you kind of
I'm
help?
not the oldest.
You're not. You are the oldest, right?
Yeah.
So did you guys like listen to the same stuff growing up, or did you know? Because I have an older brother, so I kind of looked up to what
yes
he was
and
listening
no.
to.
I mean, he had his own thing, but then of course I was his older brother, so I know you've told me like maybe you want to tell the story like how there's lots of music that he wasn't into, and he would hear it coming out of my bedroom. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
That there were
Like
he just was like, what is that?
Well,
mess?
I remember the first time I heard, like, now my favorite heavy band of all time is this band called Zayo.
Oh, yeah.
And the first time I ever heard Zayo, it didn't even sound heavy to me because it sounded so like, I don't know, it sounded just like the vocals. I didn't know that it was called growling at the time or whatever, but everything was just so like, and I couldn't find like the riff to just bob my head to because some of the parts are chaotic. And I went and saw a band that later became Norma Jean, but they were called Ludacris at the time. Or they had just changed their name to Norma Jean that night, I think. It was weird. But anyways, I saw like their live show and they were influenced by Zayo and stuff. And all of a sudden my brain understood what that style of music was doing because I saw it live and I'm like, oh, like it's really heavy. Like, and the time signatures just weren't, I wasn't ready for them in my 13-year-old brain.
It doesn't do
I don't
this.
think. Yeah. Like, so it was, they were literally like throwing their guitars around, and I remember the singer Josh, who's a good friend of mine now, he went through the basketball goal and tackling the drum kit and everything, and I was just like, I gotta do that with my life.
Yeah.
And so I came home that night and I'm like, Chris, like the music's awesome. And he's like, I know, man.
I couldn't go. I had to work that night, but I kept saying, I was like, it was like at a local church, and I was like, dude, you gotta go see this band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he came home, and he was just like,
It was in this gymnasium, and I remember as soon as the band started playing, like they went off. Like, I'm serious. It was.
but that was like
chaos.
Miles. That was sort of like eye opening. That was number 2 for you,
Yeah.
because the first one was
POD.
yeah, he was.
Well,
I had to drag him to a show.
The first
yeah?
show I ever went to was he took me to see MXPX.
He was playing with his wrestling figures, and I was
Still
just
do.
like,
Still
I was like, dude.
Throw him in the car.
I was like,
just
let's
play on
I
the
was like,
way.
you got to go to a show,
Yeah.
and so we took him to a show.
Yeah, so first show he ever took me to though, I was in 5th grade, and he took me to see 90 Pound Wuss and MXPX.
I remember them.
And I remember I went home that night and I
It
told
was a
my mom,
local church, and you could get in with a canned good.
Can good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I remember my mom, I came home that night and I was like, you have no idea what Chris has been involved in. And
He
she's
saw
like,
all
"What
these
happened?"
skater kids. He saw
Yeah,
all
like
skater
these kids. I
kids.
was like, they're
There
smoking
were kids smoking
cigarettes.
outside.
They're just sinning, Mom. No, it was, but I just, again,
They're
5th
sinning,
grade.
Mom.
Yeah, 5th grade had never witnessed any of that before. And
So you guys went to church a lot though, growing up. I mean, was that kind of a?
Well, that was not our. Well,
I didn't mean to
what
cut you
were
off.
say?
no, we didn't go to church to see shows. We went to church because we grew up in the South.
Okay.
So everybody in the South just grows up in
Like
church.
Baptist kind of.
Yeah. So like our
Southern
families. I wasn't a Christian until I was about 19, something like that. And but even that, like, it's weird when I get in that conversation when I'm talking about the band because people are always like, "So you guys are a Christian band?" I'm like, no, like not everybody in this band believes in any God or anything like that.
Wow.
The thing about Islander is I look at it like a restaurant. And if you go to a restaurant to eat spaghetti, you don't care if it's Christian spaghetti, atheist spaghetti, you just want it to be good spaghetti. And I hope that we're just making good spaghetti. That's what I always tell people.
That's good.
So in the kitchen, all the different cooks in the kitchen, we just have different beliefs from each other. So, but anyways, yeah, we grew up going to church like any Southern kids do. But we went to a lot of shows in churches that had like heavy shows, because at that time period, a lot of bands that would come around and the shows were cheap enough to go to or whatever, they were in these church like gymnasiums and stuff,
yeah.
and it was just like,
Well, it was like that. It was like the height of that. I don't want to say the height, I guess, but for us, it was the height of Tooth and Nail and like the Tooth and Nail Solid State records.
Yes.
Those bands, and we ate it up, and we were into so many of those bands, and they were touring like crazy. And and like there was a church. It was this place called the Powerhouse, 7 minutes away from my house, and we saw
everybody,
so
Really?
many
Everybody.
amazing shows in this little room. They would pack 300 kids in there, skater kids outside. They would do skate shows, but they would do these shows, and we saw some of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. Will always be in that little place.
First time I saw
cool.
Linkin Park, I remember it was POD took them out on tour with Head PE and Project 86 and all this, and Linkin Park, they opened the show. Like they opened the whole show, and their bass player, I was like, that guy's familiar. And I went home and looked, and I had a picture of him playing on that church's stage a few months prior with a band called Tasty Snacks. So Phoenix from Linkin Park, like right before he got in Linkin Park, he was playing in Tasty Snacks and some Christian pop punk band. So yeah, everybody went through that venue. It was more of just like a club than like a, some church or whatever. But it was Chris saw POD there, and I have a picture of the flyer. It says $2 at door or like $1 with a canned good.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I don't know what they're
The canned good, that was
Yeah.
huge back in the day, man.
It was all
was.
about the canned goods.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring canned goods.
I need to bring that back.
And kids, all the kids, you would have like, you see like 60, 100 kids early, waiting to come into these really cool shows, and everybody's got canned goods.
My mom was always handing Chris like a can of green beans. to the show.
Yeah, I was like, Mom,
He's like, I'm going to a show.
I'm like looking at the, I'm like, what can I have? What can I take?
So yeah, we were always taking the food and going to shows.
So I know we've been through these albums, but having your brother, it's kind of cool. This Pains record, were you involved with this at all, Chris?
This record, this is the one I had the least input in. I showed up to the studio because it was like this local makeshift studio that they were working in.
It was a real estate office.
It was a real estate office that the guy had a little space in. So it's like, and it's funny, like, anyway, I showed up there some of the evenings and I was just listening. I didn't have a lot to do with this record.
This is the only one, but you got to look though
yeah.
too. It's only 4 songs long, so I mean.
I remember
theme.
I remember the state that everyone, or like the time period. But it was, they did Side Effects of Youth, like when we worked on that. I was kind of hovering over that one. But then this one, it was, how many days did it take to do this one too? It was quick.
It was real quick. It was less than a month, but I got sick during it. So actually all my vocals on this record, I recorded them completely sick.
Yeah.
Because the dude was like, I don't have any more time until, and I was just like,
you
well,
were
I gotta
really,
do it.
Mikey was really worried about his takes. I remember that. And it was just like, but what's funny is, and there's a couple things I'm not crazy about on here, but like New Colors and Lucky Rabbit, those, and even Big Shot for a while, but New Colors and Lucky Rabbit, I mean, man, people really have.
That's your wife's favorite song too, New Colors. Remember we talking about that?
Yeah, that's my wife's least favorite.
but it's funny to me, like this one, it was just made so quick, and the band just, I don't know, like people love this stuff. Like, come after, people are always asking us about
Having
this.
HR on there.
I was
man,
going to
that's
say,
huge.
like we had HR from Bad Brains on Lucky
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit, and that was the first time I had, got to talk to him and stuff on the phone, and he recorded all his vocals through the phone, and I knew he had done that on Sacred Love for Bad Brains, and
Oh yeah, he did that. Yeah, he was in prison though.
yeah, so that's how I knew we could get it to work like that. So I was like talking to HR on the phone, and I'm like, dude, and he kept calling me Mr. Mikey.
Oh, I
He
bet.
was like, hey, Mr. Mikey, and he called us the Islander Group. And I always thought that was the coolest thing. But he laid it down for us on this, and then later on Power Under Control.
Yeah.
The fun fact, the cover art, our cousin took that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where's it at?
New York City or New York,
New Jersey.
That's Jersey. Okay,
Somewhere in Jersey.
That's right. Yeah. We were
What kind of
Jersey.
camera was it? Just like a cell phone?
It
Old
was
school.
his iPhone.
Yeah.
Oh, it was I.
Probably like an iPhone 2. Nah. But like,
It was early.
it was early, but this was just an Instagram picture.
Save some money.
It was an iPhone, and we loved that photo. And I remember the label, we went back and forth and they just kept saying, you can't use that photo. There's no way it'll work. And then, this came out and I was just like, it worked.
It worked,
Like,
yeah.
what's,
They said it would be grainy, and I'm like, I like the grain.
there's a certain sense of, it's sort of like, but it just looks like we did that. But anyway, it looks like it has a filter on it. But it was just funny. I don't know. Like for us, we were just like, yeah, we just use this photo. And they were just like, that's just not how things are done.
Yeah.
We got to spend money.
Yeah, we've got to spend money. Yeah, and that was something I noticed whenever the band got signed.
This
you got to
album's
spend money.
this album's only 4 songs long. When do you guys tour a lot on this? I mean,
Well, no, this was just meant to be like an EP, just like something to get some music out to people. We didn't even expect this to come out on like a record label or anything when
This
we
is
did
what
it.
got the band signed.
Yeah, I had started staying up till about 3 every morning, and I was working 2 jobs at the time. And I told my wife, because she was the one that encouraged me to keep like really doing the band and stuff, and she remembers I was always in the bathroom because my friend that lived downstairs from us, he would let us borrow his Wi-Fi because we couldn't afford Wi-Fi or anything. And so he would let us borrow the Wi-Fi, and the bathroom is the only spot that I could get the connection to my
I thought
laptop.
you were about to say wife. You're like, you let us borrow the Wi-Fi.
No,
I'm sorry, man. Keep going.
that's weird.
I know, man. I'm sorry, man. Just tell me what I'm thinking, man.
No, so he would let me borrow the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
And I would get on Facebook every night from about 12 to 3 in the morning, and I would Facebook stalk all these record label people. And I would just click on each one. I would scroll through and see who worked where, which record label.
Wow.
And I would send them all the same exact message, like with our music. And I'm like, HR from Bad Brains is on this. Like, and we're not a signed band, and we're doing this independently. And we had a song with Sonny from POD at the time, and I would share that. And I was shooting our music videos and stuff. And it was just completely DIY at the time. And finally, this dude named Jason from Victory Records at the time, he got back in touch with me, and he was like, hey, we're gonna bring you guys up here for a showcase. And then we went and played the showcase, came back home after eating some deep dish pizza, signed a terrible record deal.
Wow.
And we were off to the races.
Off the races. Terrible record deal.
Yeah.
How long were you in the record deal with these guys?
I think it was about 3.5, 4 years.
It was the end of 2013, and
4 years almost. 2017 summer. We got to finally get off the label, and let's see, we were in 2017. We were leaving the last date of a tour we were on with Korn.
from Redding,
It
California.
was Korn, Stone Sour, Baby Metal, Yellow Wolf, and us. Wow. And we were leaving the tour, and we had been begging them all week to let us go. And our manager called and said they're letting the band go without a lawsuit, which not a lot of bands can say they have done. And
How come you didn't get a lawsuit? Were they just you just got lucky?
I think I just became a really big like headache because I just kept going, hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. Basically, okay, let me say this. Victory Records, our time with them, there were some good aspects, and a lot of it was because I'm not trying to just, I've never been somebody to get up here and badmouth Victory Records and interviews and stuff, because for me, my experience there were a lot of people at the label that really cared about us, and they were really working hard, and we cared a lot about them too. But it just wasn't a good relationship. It came to a point where we were recording music, just what bands do, just writing new stuff. And they would see pictures of us in the studio and be like, we didn't ask you guys to go in the studio. And we're like, we're a band.
Yeah.
We just make music, like, for fun. And we weren't going to, like, put it out, without it being cool. Like, I don't know, it was just weird.
Yeah,
But,
that is weird.
yeah, we ended up leaving. We signed a contract saying, we won't say anything. And yeah, that was it.
When you were on Victory Records, that got you on these Korn shows, and how'd you get on these big tours like that? That's really cool.
The first thing was we got put on. This was the thing that Victory did help us with. They put us on Mayhem, and that is where we ended up meeting Korn and Avenged Sevenfold and all these bands. And those bands started coming out. It was like the third day of the tour, and literally I looked to the side of the stage, and we had Head, Filthy, we had some of the dudes from Avenged, we had the guys from Suicide Silence.
Yeah.
Everybody's on stage watching us, and then it started happening every day. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And I would go up to him at the end. I'm like, I used to see you guys on TV, and now you're standing here watching my band. And
was Chris at these shows? I mean, did
He
you
was-
go
he
on
was
the
freaking-
road?
I was tour managing.
Oh, you were?
whatever that was,
Yeah.
whatever.
Here's what we did. Like the band got signed. I wasn't actually in the band, but the closest thing I had was Violence and Destruction had just released, and I had co-production on that. And but anyway, we were about to go on that.
Andy did vocal. He did, the big, I love this new wave.
Yes, I
He
love
was
that
the
song.
one going, wave.
Wow, that's cool. Can
Yeah.
you do it real fast?
Right? That's it. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, about what?
Tour man.
Yeah, tour managing. Yeah. So on that tour, you were like, yeah, you be the tour manager. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be the tour manager. And I'm laying in bed like,
Did you get a
what
pay
did the tour
increase?
manager
Like,
do? I didn't get paid. I don't think we weren't paying ourselves. We were just like living, surviving.
We weren't getting paid. What it was, we agreed to do the tour for $100 a day.
oh, okay.
And we got there, and Chris.
Mayhem Fest. We're doing Mayhem Fest 2014 for $100 a day. And
But there's
said,
catering,
yeah.
though, right?
Hold
of
on,
course,
hold on.
catering's
This
amazing.
skit's funny. The
Yeah.
catering was dope. However, we were one of two bands on the whole tour in a van. Everybody else was in these buses.
Oh, that's
So we were pulling up every day in this little conversion van, no air conditioning
Oh, in the summer too.
in the summer, right there in the summer. And Chris goes to collect our money the first night,
day.
and he goes up, and the guy hands him $200, and Chris goes, "I'm sorry, you were actually only supposed to pay us $100." And the guy goes, "You guys are gonna die out here."
He was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And he
That's
he looked
hilarious.
at me almost like
He had pity.
It almost looked guilty. He was just like, he was like, just take it. Like I don't know.
So I just,
And I'm not going to name which bands, but you know who were the headliners. The headliners were, the Avenged Sevenfold and Korn and let's just
Name them.
let's just say,
There you go.
well, I know, but I'm just saying like some bands were making
a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
a lot of money, a lot of money.
Anyway, back to
And then
us.
we
So
were
back
getting,
to-
so it's like, we started finding out what the guarantees were, and we were just like,
But hold on,
This is crazy.
He came back to the van that day, and he was like,
We
$200
got
bucks.
$200.
I was like, we're supposed to make 100. And Chris is like, well, I'll try to give it back. He explains, and literally the whole van was like $200. We were shocked. We were like, this is amazing.
well, yeah.
And we started counting
the
up.
band
We're
had
like-
the band had never been like,
We'd never been
it was
paid.
like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like someone was like, you want to give us $200
I remember
to
we were
play a
sitting there,
30-minute set?
And we were just sitting there. We were like, $200. We were like, this changes everything. Our lives are changed. Now, I will say this, though.
that's
Before
cool.
we went on stage that day, literally, it was about an hour before we went on stage, I got an email, and the label told us, they said, you guys just hit top 40 at Billboard.
Wow.
And we're like, this is awesome. And we're sitting in the van
So
with our $200 not even given to us yet. And we're like, what does this mean? Like, we
Lives
Yeah.
were changed.
That's amazing.
yeah.
We're sitting there in the van sweating. We're like, man,
All of a sudden, the
we're on
air
the
conditioning
Billboard.
started
We're on
working.
the,
Oh,
bill,
yeah.
we're on the Billboard charts.
So
And a
anyways,
few months go by, and you're like, we're on the Billboard charts.
we stayed on the charts for a minute too, man.
Yeah.
And I remember
What does that mean?
You stay on the charts for this album, right? Violence and Destruction.
we and Power Under Control.
Empowering. Oh yeah, okay. So this is
Yeah.
what we're. Yeah, okay.
We were charting with both of these.
Yeah.
And so Coconut Dracula hit top 40, and then all of a sudden it starts climbing and climbing. And I remember one day, Head from Korn says, "Do you know how much money it costs to like climb the charts like that?" And I was like, well, "What do you mean?"
Wow.
What do you mean? We're on the charts. We're on the charts because people love us.
That's
So
tight.
yeah, he was like, like people are putting some love into you guys, and I was like, cool. So I didn't know what that meant.
He was
at the time.
he was
yeah.
trying to be nice. He was saying, "Hey man, any of us are on the charts. Somebody's
say this,
somebody's spending some money."
I will say this though. I remember this, and this is before we were like good friends with the Korn guys and stuff. This is when we had met them, and we were still like on that tip of like, wow, I can't believe this is Korn. Now I look at Korn and I'm like, hey guys, like I know
Yeah.
they're Korn, but I'm like,
I was like, "Hey nerds."
it's just like, hey, can we have some of your pizza? No, but I remember Head told us, he was like, this is some of the best music we've heard in this scene, in that genre, or whatever that genre is. He was like, in a long time. He said, there's actually choruses here and like
yeah.
songs. And
Catchy.
So that was always
Well,
an honor.
on that tour alone, you had your headliners, like basically the big hitters. They had that, right? So you had Korn stuff, people that have choruses and they're writing songs.
Yeah.
But a lot of the bands, and I mean, nothing. I'm not saying anything bad about any of the bands, but we were on this tour where a lot of the bands we're touring with, it's like death metal and stuff, and it's just like they're being brutal. And
We're
it's
playing with
fine.
Cannibal Corpse
That's
every day.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
that's fun, and like in Suicide Silence and stuff like that. And those bands are cool, but it's like he was saying, is like, well, they're not writing choruses.
it's not
they're
rated
not
whatever
writing
it is.
stuff that's gonna
Yeah, you guys
like,
had catchy.
yeah, like where's the hook?
And the thing is
But that's also the way we always grew up writing, though, like because that's what we like.
That's the
Yeah.
kind of music you liked.
yeah, nobody told us go to the studio and give us a chorus. I liked music with choruses and I like music without them. So we were like, well, what if we just like put the two together?
Mash
We
together.
went into the studio with this album
With this one, yeah.
with the intention. We kept saying, because we were writing all these riffs and stuff, we were just like, we're gonna write something so heavy.
Yeah. And then we
Then
kind
we-
of
then we
the
came
further it
out,
got, it
it's
was like
just
You got
like,
Better
wait.
Day and stuff
It was
like
like,
that.
we're
that was
writing-
off the other
yeah.
one.
Oh,
but
my bad. Yeah.
this one I was gonna say, and okay, let me hold this. I'm gonna show this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is special to me because it's one of them things where I'm not going to name the bands, but I know for a fact there's certain bands that called certain people on that tour and said, there's this new band called Islander, and like we think we're going to head in that direction with our sound and stuff. I've heard that so many times. And then all of a sudden we started hearing it about some bands that kind of influenced some of our original members and whatnot, and we were like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just want to say this album, and it sounds like complete baloney coming from, I mean, you might disagree with me, but coming from people that wrote the album or whatever, this album influenced bands and it didn't get enough credit. Like legitimately, no, but like there were legitimate moments on the tour where people were like, hey, this band, and which has now gone on to get bigger or whatever, they're like, this band said they're going to start sounding like you. And we started noticing people were kind of stemming from some
that's
of that
crazy.
stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like this album was underrated.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not allowed to say that, and I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, well, I love it, man. And this album was when you hooked up with Nathan, right? For doing your music videos. Was it this album?
It wasn't this one. It was
the next one. But you had videos off this one too.
We did some video. We don't like any of the music videos off of it.
Coconut
I
Dracula
love
was
the
my
story
favorite.
about the biker, man. Yeah, you're supposed to have like a bunch of like a gang
of-
of.
a gang
Man,
of
let me tell you
bikers.
something. That New Wave video was supposed to be so awesome. It was
Yeah.
in our heads. And like the reels we saw from like examples of things we were gonna do and the fire and the flames.
Oh, we got
You're
there.
like, we're gonna be
and,
huge.
and we're gonna
after
have
this.
all these motorcycle gangs and it's gonna be this amazing story.
There was a lowrider car that was supposed to be rented, and we showed up, and there was
we
a
show
Pinto.
up and these two they didn't look like bikers. They just these two guys with motorcycles showed up late. And I was like, there they are. And I'm already thinking, I'm like, how's this like how do we like what story are we gonna
Once
tell
we
here?
saw-
It could have been November Rain. Like it could have been huge,
It
man.
could have, well, yeah, could have, would have, should have.
I mean,
money.
And I want to say, like, to the
dolphins.
person that shot the video,
Yeah.
he's a cool dude. He's done some awesome work since. It's just he was working with what he had, what he had been given, and I think a lot of it went to that. But it was just, you know, when you're told one thing, like, we're gonna have you this lowrider car here, and we're like, this is gonna be sick.
Yeah.
We show up and we're like, where is all this stuff? Where's the biker gang? They're like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna have that. And then you start finding out we don't know if we're gonna have this. We don't know if we're gonna have this. And I'm like, are we gonna like?
And the day of that shoot, it was out on the beach in Michigan on the lake. And
Oh, there it is.
It is, man.
There's
Look
the
at
video.
that.
There's Chris.
that was me back in the
It's
background.
an awful video.
I like that shot right there. But
We should just watch the rest of the video.
yeah.
Yeah, man. What's it like rocking out in sand?
Terrible. It's so hard to stand up, and we had to do that for like 4 hours.
Well,
Man,
I was gonna say when we arrived, right? We found the spot and got into sort of an argument with a couple of the guys in the band, and I knew better, and they were like, "Dude, you can drive the van on the beach."
What side
we
was
had a
Mikey
trailer.
on? Was he on like, yes,
I don't
we can?
remember. I think
No, I'm sorry.
I want to say everyone just thought I was being stupid and crazy. And
I don't
like,
think
you think you know it all, and I was like, we're gonna sink. It's not that kind of sand. And it's not that kind of beach. We drive we get out into the middle of the beach, right? Get close to the water because they were like, "There's no way I'm toting all this stuff over there to the shot." And we get to the middle, and all of a sudden, I'm driving, and then I'm just spinning, and then they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I told
And then
you."
hard cut to the tractor trailer pulling us out.
Yep. Yeah, there was a guy. Luckily, some guy in a tractor was there. Yeah.
He said,
Oh,
you
really?
need me to pull you out?
He was just there?
He was working.
across the street.
across the road.
Oh,
or
that's
something.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like a huge.
You should put
like,
him in the
tractor.
video. Instead
Nobody
of the
said
biker.
anything.
That would've
though.
been-
I do remember when it sank, Chris just kind of looked at everybody.
I looked at all of them, and
they're
they
just like,
were quiet.
You could have heard a cricket. But yeah, that was.
That happened though. Yeah. So
Okay, you see this video right here? Can you talk about this? This is off Power Under Control,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bad guy.
right? Who filmed this?
Wow. Cute.
This one was.
You
done.
guys filmed this, didn't you?
No. This I helped edit this though.
You edited.
I edited a lot of this one as well as the Darkness video. I drove up to Chicago because we couldn't get anything done. I'm sorry. I just have a lot of horror stories from being in a band. A lot of great ones too, but I feel like
What keeps you going, man?
I don't give enough
Yeah.
love to the horror stories. I feel
I
like,
like 'em.
I feel like everybody's just like, oh, that sounds like complaining.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
No.
Like I need somebody to like vent with me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this video we shot it in Chicago.
There's an underpass in Chicago.
All the
downtown.
posters and stuff, I printed them up off a computer and brought those up. And I had like my wrestling action figures on the shelf. And this is a kid that we knew through some friends, and he
That's
could.
cool.
Yeah, he had
We
like
need a
a cool
kid
look.
that
And
can
Did you
stuff.
steal the stop sign that's on the wall?
No,
Is that
that
legit?
was from one of the guys that helped with the video brought it, I believe.
Well, we shot it. The director. It was Dustin's. It was Dustin's,
Oh, yeah, it was his parents' house.
Childhood home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny showing up to like a music video shoot and you don't know anybody like this. The other people there, you're just like some actors that were hired out. 'Cause I remember everybody used to always ask, like, where'd you find the kids for the Coconut Dracula video? And we're like, we found just like some kid you could hire for music videos
Yeah.
website.
Oh, really?
Like,
Yeah, they send them to you. You just call a number. And
just
they-
ship them out.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
need a kid.
I need a kid.
It's like it's funny because I grew up with a kid that he always says that his dad used to try to whore him out like Macaulay Culkin, and he said that he actually was like in a movie with Elijah Wood.
Oh, yeah?
And I can't remember the name of the movie, but there's this school
Macaulay
scene.
Culkin? I know it. Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood? The Good Son.
Good.
Not that one. Not that
Okay,
one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. He was this kid that I was friends with. He was
Yeah.
in a separate movie with Elijah.
Oh, okay.
But he said that when he saw the movie, he said they had cut him out of all the shots. So he was like, I was there every day playing on set with Elijah Wood. And he said, every one of them, I'm like, if they had just slid the camera over, I could have been in the movie. So
He goes to the premiere of the movie with all his friends.
Life of an extra. Yeah.
yeah, he's got all these pictures with like Star Wars characters and stuff from movies and everything that he had met. And he said that he got to be in a movie with Elijah Wood. But he said this is before Elijah Wood was Elijah Wood. You know, he wasn't Frodo yet. He was just some kid that was trying to be in movies. So,
What's the name of the movie?
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember.
We have to
Some
figure that
movie
out.
with a desk in school. I don't know. But Daniel was in that movie.
That's our friend Daniel Tapp.
Yeah.
So you guys released Summer, right? That was like a single.
It was a single.
You gonna keep doing that, like throwing songs out there?
We want to. It's, we're on a record label now. When we were doing that, we were independent. And right now, the main goal is just to get any new music to our fans ASAP. And we've just been working with the label on what that looks like as far as timing and getting a marketing schedule and touring schedule and all that. So we're antsy, man.
We're just playing ball. We're playing ball with the label. We're just
Yeah.
we're writing and we're hoping to have those songs soon.
Yeah.
But we have plans right now to be back in the studio. Like I said, we have ideas, but I can't really name names. But there's a bunch of there's other producers that we're gonna go work with, and we're gonna write some more songs. And so the label wants us to have an album.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely want to see you guys like on tour and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to as well. People have presented ideas about tours and stuff, but I don't know. We really just need music out.
Yeah. It's funny because our last full-length album came out in 2016, and most bands we tour with, we tour so much that bands are like, that can't be right. because they'll like ask us, when was the last album? Like 2016, and they see that ever since then we've stayed on tour. Like we've been touring with Korn and POD.
Yeah.
And like literally,
That's
like
crazy.
all these tours that we just kept doing in that time period, like afterwards, and we weren't even promoting a record. We were just like touring. And
That's crazy. I can't believe you guys have all these songs from 2018 just sitting on a shelf.
yeah, they're on my phone right now.
That stinks though, right?
Yeah.
You're just sitting there.
I've got a full Islander album on my phone, and then minus those songs, there's
Man, we got
50. There's 51 demos.
So many
That's
demos.
wild.
that we have.
So many demos.
So I sent you that record.
Yeah, man. I was.
So you've
I
heard
like it.
you've
Yeah.
heard the third Islander album.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did like it. Yeah. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of want you guys to put it out, man.
Those are demos right now too. It's
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, because it's not out. So
Yeah,
until it's
everything's just
released,
kinda-
it's a demo. You know.
yeah.
So who's the other guy in the band that's not here?
Eric.
Eric. Okay.
He's
How
our
long has he
guitar
been in the
player.
band?
He's been in it since 2017. So I found him online. I started shopping around for kids that could play guitar.
See, you just
Yeah, man.
you
That's
need
how
a
you
kid.
do.
Need a kid that can play guitar.
Yeah.
It's like an extra.
So I figured out. I figured out that if you click on enough pictures of people playing guitar on Facebook, eventually it'll start suggesting friends to you.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Oh, really?
That'll also have like play guitar.
Yeah.
It's like it's an algorithm thing.
Yeah.
So I do that anytime I need somebody. So then I started clicking on him.
Yeah.
I mean, on guitar players. The next thing you know, he popped up, and I messaged him because I watched some of his videos, and he messaged me back, and he was like, I don't think I can do that right now. Blah blah blah. He was going to go work for NASA or something, and then all of a sudden, like a week later, he messaged me back and was like, Hey, I want to do it. So then
I hate money. I'm gonna come be in a band with you guys.
yeah. So the way I knew he meant it is I was like, well, come drive to my house. He drove to his house. It was like,
Your house.
To your house.
yeah, he drove to my house. It was like, he drove to my house from like Virginia to Indiana. I can't remember how long of a drive that is, but when he pulled up to my driveway, his car was sputtering. And I was like,
made it.
this kid means it. Like, he got there, I was like, you didn't tell me your car didn't like really, because he just offers, I'll drive, I'll save the band money on a flight, blah, blah, blah. And he got there, and I'm like, man, this kid means it. He had never had Taco Bell. He had never been on a plane.
He grew up on this little this little coastal town,
Nancock.
Oh, wow.
Nancock. They even
But
have
what's it
their
called,
own lake.
Nancock.
Okay, got you.
They have their own.
Dialect.
Dialect.
Nice.
So
And they don't have Taco Bell.
they literally go, "Where's your dirty, 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 dirty?" That's how they talk. I'm serious. So he doesn't
really good.
Yeah, no, he really does.
Like an
I
old,
mean, that's what they do.
like an old way of speaking. You
should
there's
redo the
people there
intro.
that still speak that way.
Dirty, dirty. This is Scott Bowling.
But
But
They sound like the Swedish chef.
yeah. But we got him on an airplane. We gave him Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Like-
So he's had McDonald's, just no Taco Bell.
He hates Taco Bell though.
Yeah, he hates it.
Because he hates Mexican food with a passion.
Oh, that's crazy.
But if you ask him why, he
There's
just
some
gets,
things he likes at Taco Bell.
he'll act
but
like, but he'll
there's-
say he hates it, and then he doesn't. He just can't explain himself. I'm like, well, what do you hate? Because I'll say like, well, you can get like a steak, you can get this, and it's just steak and rice. And I'm like, what do you hate about it? He's just like, it's just the bottom of the
But
barrel.
here's where he's redeemed though. He
bottom
loves awesome Asian food, man. Like
Yeah.
any
Well,
dumplings,
he wants to eat
freaking ramen.
He wants to eat
yeah,
ramen
I eat ramen last
24/7.
So I'm with him on that.
Yeah, that's
man.
good
Like,
stuff.
But at first it was funny because I was like, man, this kid's so green. Like he don't know about any of this stuff. And then there were other people even like that were close to us that didn't believe in his skills at the time. They were like, why are you doing this, Mikey? Like, this kid's never played a show or anything.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So
Yeah.
what was he like on the road? I mean,
So
did he
we
adapt?
brought him out and we booked 6 headline shows just to kind of warm him up to be on stage. And he picked up really fast. Like it was just really fast. And after those 6 shows, boom, just jumped right on tour with Korn.
Wow.
So like he found himself playing the Forum and Hollywood and stuff. He's in an arena.
Was this when you guys opened for Korn when they did the album from start to finish?
No, that
Was
was a different tour.
Okay.
We did with them. That was the 20th anniversary. This one was the one where they were it was
the Yellow
Stone
Wolf,
Sour, Baby
Wow,
Metal,
yeah.
all that. So he's on tour with all these bands.
Amphitheater tour.
You
Yeah.
guys don't have a bass player, right?
No, right.
Do you have
right.
one on tour?
No,
So it's just all him.
It's
Our bass player lives inside of the computer.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we run it through
Just run through a
tracks.
track, yeah.
Yeah. So
We track it in the studio,
Yeah.
but then we've just been doing it that way.
to thicken it up live though, we run him through a bass rig. So it's got
Oh, I
like a
see.
bassy sound.
Yeah.
Plus Chris is doing a lot of stuff on synth.
I just trigger some stuff, and I just kind of add like right at this point where we're at. I mean, like I say, we're always figuring it out, but like these last 2 tours, I was just kind of adding to the layers, But I sing a lot now,
Yeah.
That's cool.
so
He's got a beautiful voice,
this
man.
makes it huge.
Dude, I'm going to go back and listen to New Wave.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. It's,
Well, this
it's
new
tight.
way.
There you go.
But yeah, it's just going back to that. Like we had been writing together, since we started liking me, or since I started liking music. We were trying to make music. We were writing like little demos of stuff, and once we started doing the band like full time, and we were in the real studios. Chris would be in the studio, like he said, like he co-produced Violence and Destruction with Cameron Webb.
Wow. Yeah. That's
And
cool.
he was helping us come up with melodies and kind of telling us where to arrange parts because his ear's so good at that. And
I'm very opinionated though.
yeah,
Some guys are quiet in the studio,
Yeah.
and I try to be, but I just can't do it because I'm just like, oh, I hear that, man. And I'm like, if you're not gonna speak up, I'm gonna win.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And who's your drummer right now? I'm trying to get
Our drummer situation is funny. We don't have an official drummer. We just hire people out for tours right now.
We just toured with we had Michael,
From 68,
68.
or
Oh,
formerly
cool.
of 68.
formerly from '68, and he came in and filled in for 2 tours with us.
Yeah.
Killer drummer.
Oh, really?
Awesome, dude.
So you trying to look for a permanent guy right now, or just gonna use?
I think I don't know. I think for you, but I think we want one.
Yeah, of course. We
Like,
want one.
you want a drummer, but
We
it's
just
like,
don't want to rush it.
Yeah.
It's about finding. It's more about you just want that person that is just gonna fit.
Stick
as
around,
far
too.
as it's more. It's not about the drumming. It's about just are you gonna want to just do it and live in the van and do all these things that we're gonna do.
HR from Bad Brains says something.
leave home and not look back for a
Yep.
while.
Yeah.
It's hard.
HR said something from Bad Brains one time, very wise. He said that it's not always about how talented the musicians are you work with. He said it's about if you can get along with them or not. He said you'll get a lot more done that way.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, we'll grow together.
Yeah.
We'll grow together in our talents. Let's just get along and long enough to get there.
That's true.
Because you look at the old Islander lineups, these songs been playing, you see all these different faces, and I will say, we've kept in contact and are friends with every single one of them except for one, and that's a sad situation. But it's I look at all this and I'm like, if we could have all kept being in a band together, any of us could have kept doing it or whatever. This video is a perfect example, man. Like. JR actually edited this video, our old guitar player.
Yeah, so he played with Head, right?
Yeah. That's how we met him and everything. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where people are always like, well, since Mikey's the only original member, he must be really hard to get along with. And it's like, well, or it just worked out to where other people didn't want to do this anymore.
Yes.
And it's like, that's what's tough. Like when
Well, if they could see they don't see that though. They don't see the inner workings. They don't see
Right.
that. Sometimes it's like the majority of these guys, you don't see them in the pictures. They're not in the band anymore, but you don't know that we are texting back and forth and we're buddies with them.
Right.
Yeah.
They just can't be in the band anymore.
yeah.
They were just like, hey, I'm done.
That's
it just works out that way.
I
a
love
lot
that
of
video
times.
you guys did where it was like their last, you're digging the grave and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that was the thing. Like that video, even like when we were on tour when we found out that we had a conversation about the future of the band and stuff, and the other 3 guys just so happens all at the same time. It makes me look terrible, but they all at the same time they're like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So we came up together with this idea of like, how about as a symbol of this, I bury you guys. So it's like it's all in agreement.
Good idea. I mean,
Yeah. And Nathan Mowry shot it, and we
Well,
shot
the
it.
3 of them, they were all just like, that is a sick idea. Yes.
Yes,
Kill
it
me.
is a sick idea.
Yeah, they're like, this
They're
is
like,
sick.
kill
I'll
me.
be dead, and like
Yeah.
it'll be like this.
You almost got
symbolic-
arrested too, right? Wasn't
Well,
it like on a?
we shot it on NASA's property without knowing, and a helicopter flew over and just paused. And our old tour manager Ken was like, "We gotta get out of here." And
Nathan's all nonchalant. He's like, "No, I gotta get one more shot."
Yeah,
One more shot.
we're over here digging graves in NASA's property, and yeah, we got away with it though. So I mean, it was cool. I remember we dug so far. You did the digging.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did?
because they wouldn't get. Yeah, it's like, Chris, okay, dig a hole here.
Well, we thought digging was gonna be easy. Chris said, "Y'all ever dug a hole? We get out there."
yeah,
like,
they were
"This
just like,
dig
then
holes is hard,
we'll
dude."
dig a hole, then we'll do this, and then like it's one of those things where you get out there. And I don't know, it makes you guys. Or I'm not trying to make you guys look bad, but all of a sudden, it's like all these dudes.
Hey, Chris, come
and
on.
I'm like, and they're like, they got a shovel. I'm like, have you guys ever dug a hole before? Come on,
Well, dude, I had in my
it's got to
defense,
like look right.
I
Like
had
you
been
can't.
carrying their bodies all day.
Yeah, so
But it
it's
was
not like the movies. The soil just doesn't always just like you got to know what you're doing.
Here's what's funny though. When we
Or
got,
some people are gonna watch the video and they're gonna be like, that guy can't hold a shovel.
I remember when we got to JR's grave. Chris is digging it, and all of a sudden you just see water just start pouring in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And JR's like, man, he had to lay down in the pool of
It
water.
was like swamplands. We're close to swamplands.
Yeah. So Chris was digging, and it starts getting water in it. And Chris is like, "All right, lay down
Right, get in the hole.
for the sake of art."
Oh, yeah, dude, that's
So,
funny.
yeah, it's,
Fun times.
but we're still friends with those dudes, and that's one thing that hurts when you see people say stuff online, and you're like, those are still my homies.
Yeah,
and,
man.
You know, they feel like they can say something like, "Oh man, I bet Mikey's this and this," and I'm like, I don't care what you think about me. It just sucks that you think that, like, you can think that and just like spit it out without knowing anything. That's just weird.
Do you get that feedback in like comments on YouTube videos and stuff? I mean,
Messages,
Oh, really?
DMs, everything.
people DM you,
But it's not
Yeah.
real though, because I mean it's real people, but they're weird. Like, so you'll literally see where some kid, or not some kid, I'll say kid, but it'll be I'll know who it is, and they'll be a grown person, but they're like, they'll badmouth you, or they'll say, yeah, blah, 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 they suck now, or they do this, or I don't know, just whatever, some disparaging comment. And then you'll see on a different post that you make, and they'll go, yo, can't wait to see you guys on the 20th. It's the same dude.
Same
I'm like,
guy.
what is that? What's wrong
Or
with
if you
you?
respond to them and say like, "Do you know what you're talking about?" They're like, "Dude, still much respect for you guys though." Like, I mean, like,
If you
I was just
respond,
wondering.
yeah, if you respond, they always respond back like, "Oh, yo, yeah, I was just wondering. Sorry, I'm just frustrated."
In other messages though, the cool messages are the ones. My wife gets messages like every month. Tell your husband come to Brazil.
Oh wow.
Like they're always asking for
Jeez.
Brazil.
Why they gotta talk like that, bro?
That's the way it reads. Tell your husband come to Brazil.
Tell your husband come to Brazil. That's all.
I like your guitar player's accent. That like.
Well, that's not his. He's
sorry.
he's from a magical land of people that speak that way, but he somehow kind of left.
Yeah, he
like-
doesn't really speak that way.
So-
He doesn't speak like
He should though, 'cause that's cool.
that. Yeah, there's like a documentary about those people or something.
Yeah, you can YouTube
And it
it.
shows them all sitting at like the local barber or like the bars, and they're like,
Here's the exact thing. You hear the guy like the interview guy or whatever, the narrative guy. He says, he goes, some people have a very interesting aspect. I mean, have a very interesting accent to maybe some of the visiting tourists or whatever, and it shows these guys sitting in like a diner, and he goes, "If the boy went round his barbo," he goes, "and then he brought the lollygagger, and then he doodly doodly doo," and then they all start laughing like they understood what he said, and I was like, "Eric, do people speak this way?" So we went to his town, and we're sitting there eating all this fish and chips at this local pub, and you start hearing somebody next to me go, "Here's your morning." I was like, "This is amazing."
kind of pops
The
up.
perfect version of that, man.
Yeah,
But it's like a little coastal town. I love
beautiful,
Oneonta.
dude.
It's
I
beautiful.
love
There's nothing to do, but that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's just like there's like 2 restaurants.
There's a
whatever.
Walmart, 2 restaurants.
And
The
Taco Bell.
Walmart's like far down the street.
You gotta drive. to
Yeah.
Walmart.
It's kind of like this. Like you pull into Onancock and you go, look at that building, and then you leave Onancock. Like that's how small the town is.
Yeah.
Like it's
I feel like
crazy.
you have to edit so much of this out.
No, we're
Talking
leaving it
about-
all in, man.
It's cool though, but
About life.
yeah.
All right, so you guys are gonna be in the studio for 2020. You gonna tour in the summer or?
right now that's the goal. I mean,
goal.
if we don't tour, we don't make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna tour as much as possible.
Yeah, we don't have any tours planned, but they're like
We have some festival stuff.
We
have some
do.
festival
There's some
stuff,
festivals
but-
coming up, but like management will come to us like, "Yo, like your name is in the pot for all these tours." But for me, it's just like I can't think about a tour right now because
Yeah,
I
you're trying
just
to
We have all this
what's-
music.
Yeah.
I don't understand all these tour plans without. I literally want to have an amazing album or just a collection of music. I'm ready to put it out. So and it's gonna come out. So like I said, we have all these demos. Got tons of demos just sitting in all sorts of. There's so many forms of demos. I've got a phone full of GarageBand demos.
Yeah.
Just there's so many
I can't wait to
different
hear 'em.
things
Yeah.
that we're working on. So.
So where can people find you? All socials under
All
Islander.
socials, all the socials that everyone knows about the socials.
Yeah.
You don't have to name them.
Just type in Islander on
go to-
on a social.
Our Zanga, our Friendster, our MySpace.
No, but yeah, like any
TikTok.
Instagram.
We're
Twitter.
thinking about getting a Facebook, maybe Instagram.
It might take off. No,
You got a
yeah,
website too, right?
We're on everything.
Everything, yeah.
Literally, Google Islander. You'll see these faces.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
and a hockey team. There's a hockey team out there trying to
Yeah.
come up.
Oh yeah. Nice.
It's a little hockey team called the Islanders.
Yeah. No, but yeah, just search us.
But dude, man, thank you for coming back on the show.
Dude,
you gotta
thanks.
come back. Yeah. do the accent one more time. Like count us out.
Okay. This is Mikey from Islander. I can't do it, man.
They're like, we don't
God.
talk like that.
Yeah.
Orgeburg, Georgia.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. All right, let's shoot the real interview.
When it got really quiet, I was like, I hear a faint. Yeah, there it is.
He's like, I'm writing a hit.
Every interview we
yo, I'm on to something.
met.